Hello and welcome to the third of my question and answer videos. This is where I answer your questions about my channel and my travels. The questions are in no particular order, so let's get started with the first question. Peter Waldeck asked, if you were a finalist on the Great British Bake Off and had to make a gingerbread construction for the showstopper of your favourite place that you've ever visited, what would it be? The Great British Bake Off is a cookery competition programme here in England, and it's a great view as well. I really enjoy watching it. So what a great question to start this video off. I'm not sure about a favourite place, as I've visited so many incredible locations over the past few years. I think that a gingerbread Heracles tower, the real one is located in A Coruña, Spain, would probably be the one. A perfectly preserved Roman lighthouse standing tall over the offerings on display from the other competitors. The real Heracles Tower was amazing to visit, as you will see from my video. I'll leave a link in the description below to that video. Great question, absolutely brilliant. Paul Breen asked, which era of history and place would you have preferred to have lived in, if not this one? What a great question. Which era of history and place would you have preferred to have lived in, if not this one? Yes. Gosh, that's a difficult one to answer. There are so many. I think most people know that I have a passion for the Roman era. So living somewhere rural outside of Rome, around 170 to 260 AD, which was a fairly stable period in the Roman era, perhaps working as an olive farmer or a vintner, perhaps would be interesting. But what about a period of British history? Question. As long as I kept out of trouble and outside of public-facing roles, generally life would be hard through most eras, from medieval through to the Tudor years, with wars, invasion, plague, and a lack of medical care, and the unknown outcomes of daily politics. Probably a time covering the Regency and early Victorian periods, from around 1795 to 1850. Living somewhere outside of central London. Mind you, I like the 60s era. Perhaps being a teenager in the 60s rather than the 80s might have been more interesting. I think I need a time machine. I can visit lots of different eras and experience ways of life in those eras. But yeah, I think somewhere outside Rome I think would be the one, because I do have a love of Roman history, and I'd be part of the history as well. Back in AD 260. Life in Lancashire asked, there are many magnificent structures in the world. If you were given the option to visit one on an all expenses paid trip, which one would you choose and why? Oh, that's a brilliant question, Annie, and one which I think is difficult to answer. As you didn't say whether these were historical structures or not, I'll pick two, one historical and one non-historical. For the historical location, I've always wanted to visit Masada in southern Israel, since I watched the mini-series on television back in 1981. And this is when I first became aware of this structure. Masada is an ancient fortification situated on top of an isolated rock plateau on the eastern edge of the Judean desert, overlooking the Dead Sea. It's about 20 kilometres or about 12 miles east of Arad. Herod the Great built two palaces for himself on the mountain and fortified Masada between around 37 and 31 BC, or BCE as we say today. Now, according to Flavius Josephus, who was a Roman Jewish historian and military leader, well, he wrote about the siege of Masada by the Romans during the years 72 to 73 AD, or CE, in the Common Era. And this was at the end of the First Jewish-Roman War. This ended with a mass suicide of around 960 Sicarii rebels who were hiding there. The story of Masada is absolutely incredible, and it's high on my list to visit. However, current politics in the region will mean that I have to wait a little longer before I can actually plan my visit and see for myself how the Romans conquered this structure. As for a modern structure, this has to be the Three Gorges Dam in China. It's built at a cost around $32 billion US. The Three Gorges Dam is a hydroelectric gravity dam that spans the Yangtze River. It's near Sanduping in the Yiling district of China. It's about 600 miles sort of northwest of Hong Kong. The dam became fully operational back in 2012 and it is a marvel of modern engineering and would be an incredible sight to see. To be honest, I doubt I'll ever get there. However, I do plan to visit some large dams in the near future, especially some of the more historical ones. Absolutely brilliant question. Yeah, definitely need to visit Masada. Definitely. It is high on my list to visit, but maybe next year or the year after. Let's get the politics sorted out in that region first. Another question. I'm a Dutch-Kiwi. Anita has asked, what country would you emigrate to given the option and why? Actually, I'm already looking at this option as my work situation isn't going to plan. There is, however, a great deal to consider when moving to another country. Somewhere Australia or New Zealand seems to be popular, or the west coast of Canada, somewhere north of Vancouver would be nice. This all depends upon my current work schedule. The future is what I make it, so who knows where I'll end up in the future. In theory, I could work anywhere driving a bus or a coach, but do I really want to? I do have plans to travel around the world as a creator, creating content, living for extensive periods in different countries. But that all depends upon my channel growth, which simply isn't growing at the moment in the way that I would have hoped. Difficult to answer this question at this moment, but watch this space. Yeah, I do have plans to live abroad, but whether it comes off, I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Millionaire Paul asked, who is your favourite YouTuber? I'm amazed that this question didn't come up in my first question and answer video. If I'm honest, I don't actually have a favourite YouTuber or favourite channel as such, but I really do enjoy the channel called English Grave. The channel looks at the past lives of notable people who have died, all of whom have left their mark upon this country. I'll leave a link to that channel in the description below. It's well worth looking at. It's really brilliantly put together. I actually watch a variety of different channels, especially from creators that I've had the pleasure of meeting. And I've met quite a number of creators who've produced interesting content, and I'm keen to meet many more in the future. In terms of large creators, I tend to watch channels which are in a similar genre to mine. To mention a few, there's Scott from Planes, Trains and Everything, Steve Marsh, Rick Steves, Bald and Bankrupt, Noel Phillips, Sam Chewy, Simon Wilson, just to name a few, plus several of the how-to YouTube guru channels which deal with progressing on YouTube, including yours, Paul. I do watch your channel as well. But yeah, interesting question. Clive Marchant has asked two questions. Have you ever considered doing the battlefield trip in France, Belgium and Germany? Yes, these locations are on my list as part of other videos or history specials. But again, it's having the time to visit them. Creating content is so difficult due to my full-time job. I have limited time to make all the videos that I actually want to make. I do have an idea to travel westwards around the French coast towards Spain, but that would take more time than I can currently allocate. Perhaps in the future I might be able to travel more and finally visit these locations. Good question, good question. What is the biggest hurdle to overcome when planning travelling? That's another great question. Clive asked some brilliant questions in my previous 2 question and answer videos. And these questions haven't disappointed either. Absolutely excellent. Budget is my biggest concern, and there are currently some places I'm unable to visit because that trip would simply cost too much. Hence staying within Europe at the moment. I do want to visit the walled town of Visby in Sweden, but due to its location and the time factors involved, these also stop me from visiting at the moment. My other concern is visiting locations which add variety to my content, doing something different, visiting somewhere different and finding those stories not told by other creators. Each of my 19 travel series so far have all included these elements, which adds to the interest in creating these videos and hopefully the interest in watching them as well. I do visit so many different locations in each video. Yeah, brilliant questions, Clive. Thank you for those. Two Bears on Tour asked, do you have a favourite period of history that you particularly like? And what first sparked your interest in that particular period or your interest of history in general? This question does keep coming up and it's a great question, so thank you Ellie and Martin for asking it. Regular viewers to my channel will know that the Roman era is of particular interest to me, and all my travel series do centre around visiting Roman ruins, which over the years have included the Roman lighthouse in A Coruña, various amphitheatres, circuses, arenas, castellums, old walls, and all the different artefacts housed in the various museum collections that I visited as well. My grandfather liked his Roman history, and he regularly took me to the Verulamium Museum in St Albans. It was from him that my interest in the Roman era developed further. And I covered this in one of my St Albans videos, which I had fun making last year, back in the summer of 2024. My interest has since developed further into the English Civil War and to church history. Churches and church records do offer a unique window into our past, giving up some surprising information. My knowledge and enthusiasm of these subjects, I'm sure, does come through on many of my videos as I research the places that I visit. Great question. Mr. CDM asked, have you any Roman locations in the UK that you have yet to explore? Brilliant. Another Roman question. Yes, very much so. I do have a plan to travel along Hadrian's Wall, taking in the ruins of the various forts, including Vindolanda. Now, construction began on Hadrian's Wall back in AD 122, and the wall stretches for 73 miles from Wall's End to Bowness-on-Solway. The wall marked the boundary between the Roman Britannia and the unconquered Caledonia to the north. Vindolanda was a Roman castrum or fort located south of the wall and one of the more impressive Roman ruins in England, dating from around 80 AD. Hopefully I'll get up there in the next few years, but again it depends on my filming schedule and what else I can film in the region as well, and of course my time restraints as well. Trying to cram everything into a week away or 10 days away is not always good for visiting multiple locations or traversing large distances, but it is on my list of places to go. Finally, I've had numerous questions in recent months asking if I will return to London and the countries of the Netherlands, Germany and Italy to create more videos. I've also been asked about travelling outside of Europe as well. Yes is the answer to all of those. Back in 2021 I made about 9 videos from London and I still have all my notes in order to make more. I might fit them in this year. I did do a couple last year, but I do have other UK locations that I also want to visit as well. As for the Netherlands, Germany and Italy, I will be making more from these countries, and last year I did return to Germany, visiting Bremen, and the Netherlands, visiting Maastricht. More videos are planned, but it's a question of available time to fit in these returns. I do work a regular job and that currently does have to come first, working about 55 hours a week, and with commuting that takes me up to about 65, so I have to cram a lot into my days off to make content. As for travelling outside of Europe, yes, these videos are planned, but it's a question of time and the budget to actually achieve the trips that I want to make. And I need to go there for several weeks to do justice to the costs and the time getting there. But yes, visiting Thailand and Hong Kong, Singapore is on my list of places to visit. But hopefully later this year, if I can do it, I'm going to try and plan a trip in that region or one of those regions, but it depends upon my work schedule. But let's see what I can do. So thank you so much to everyone who has asked a question, and I wish that there'd been a few more as well. But if you have a question, then just ask it in the comment section below and I'll answer it in my next question and answer video. So thank you so much for watching. The previous 2 will come up after this, so if you haven't seen those videos as well, many more brilliant questions are asked and I give great answers to them as well. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow my journey, because a new travel series will be coming very, very shortly. But where from? Thanks for watching.